Welcome to The Real Review, sponsored by Parametric and Lazy Ape Studios, where you get some of the latest happenings, real thoughts, and perspectives in the world of film and television. And this is our Coming Soon and News segment, where we talk about films that are going to be coming out in the next little bit, and we also discuss some film news. Right, Matt?
Right indeed.
Right indeed. Right indubitably.
Yes.
Indubitably. How are you doing?
Indubitably. I'm doing good. Doing well. I just drank a bottle of sparkling water.
Yes.
And the bubbles.
So be burping with us for the next couple minutes as we talk about these.
I love carbonation. Carbonation's the best.
It is the best. I don't know what it is about carbonation, but especially a really cold carbonated drink and on a hot day, and you just take a first sip of that, and the way that it bites in the back of your throat, you're just like, yes!
The burn. I love the burn.
And
the burn
I'm
is
proud
the best.
to be a human where I can get carbonated water. I don't know what it is about that. I find it more refreshing than just a simple flat, just tea or water.
Oh yeah, I would have carbonated anything before I would have water if it was an option.
Absolutely,
Obviously, you do too. You're a LaCroix fan.
I'm a huge LaCroix fan. I've got the T-shirt. I've rode the ride.
I want you to have a LaCroix T-shirt now.
I would tour the factory if I could. If they allowed tours, I would totally go to the factory and get it fresh out of the LaCroix can.
Do it.
Yeah, I got to find out where they're.
Okay.
If anybody from LaCroix is listening,
and
they want to contact us, and they're willing to offer me free airfare, I will fly down there.
Yeah.
And I will tour the factory and talk about it.
If you want to sponsor us, we will mention LaCroix every show. You can send us cases of LaCroix.
That would be beautiful.
Let me get the address for you.
That's the one thing that ticks me off about LaCroix, which they put them in boxes of 8.
Yeah.
Give me a standard 10 or even a 12-pack. I would.
They have a giant 24 packs.
Do they?
Yeah,
I never find them. Maybe at Costco.
They're like pallet looking things. Yeah.
I should just order those. Probably online. I'll check online. Anyway, so today we're going to be talking about the upcoming release, the Marvel film Spider-Man Homecoming, which is the major release that's happening this weekend. There's a couple other minor releases that are happening, but this is the big one.
Yeah.
Probably the only one that we'll be seeing for the most part for our review segment next week. So we're going to talk about that, a little bit of film news. Matt, why don't you give them just some good ways to get connected real quick?
Yeah, get connected with us at realreviewmedia.com. You can email us at realreviewmedia@gmail.com, and then also Facebook/realreviewmedia.com and Instagram and Twitter at realreviewmedia. And you can
you can go ahead and do that.
Get on there. We update that stuff all the time. Ask us questions. Let us know what your favorite movies have been and stuff, and we'll talk about it.
There it is. So, Spider-Man Homecoming being released this weekend. Synopsis for this: several months after the events of Captain America: Civil War, Peter Parker, with the help of his mentor Tony Stark, tries to balance his life as an ordinary high school student in Queens, New York. I don't know why I paused there. While fighting crime as his superhero alter ego Spider-Man, as a new threat, the Vulture emerges. So basically, Civil War's over. Spider-Man, Tony Stark, buddies, new big bad guy, and Spider-Man doing Spider-Man things.
Yes.
So it's a huge synopsis for something that is really very simple for the most part. So being directed by John Watts, a ton of writers. I'm not going to read them all, but there's a ton of writers on there. Stars Tom Holland, Michael Keaton, Robert Downey Jr., Marissa Tomei as May Parker, John Favreau as Happy Hogan.
Favreau.
And Gwyneth Paltrow do another one. And I saw in the preview now they've actually had Donald Glover pop up once, and then his good friend. I can't think.
Honestly, I stopped watching the trailers. I felt like they were giving too much away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They've given a lot away at this point.
Yeah.
I think for the story, they've kind of shown you a lot of the main beats.
I just stopped watching. I was like, stop showing me so much.
Yeah, I mean, it's like he's going to do that, and then he's going to attack there, and then that's going to happen. There's going to be dramatic conflict. What's your excitement like for this one?
To be honest, it's not as high as I want it to be.
Yeah.
I feel like I want it to be higher, but right now I'm just not super excited about it.
Why do you think that is, Matt?
I want to say it's partially because I feel like they're giving a lot away in their marketing.
Yeah.
And I don't know for sure. I don't know if I can put a finger on why I don't feel super excited about it.
Yeah. I think one of the main reasons, I'm with you on that. I think it's getting really good reviews as well, we should say. But one of the main reasons for that for me is that there's been a lot of Spider-Man content already.
Yeah.
I like Spider-Man. I enjoy him as a comic book character and as a character in and of itself, but we've had all of the Tobey Maguire movies. Then right after that, we went straight into the Andrew Garfield movies, and now we're going right into the Tom Holland version. So it's just there's been a lot of Spider-Man kind of ongoing. And you can say there was a little bit of a dip and a pause, obviously, between the Tobey Maguire version and the Andrew Garfield version. But I don't know. It's just been a lot. And so I kind of maybe would have liked a bit of a healthy pause. I understand why they're going right into it.
Yeah.
Because they want to get him into the Avengers and get him into the whole universe. And it's the first time that Marvel has had control of like the Spider-Man character. So it's like exciting for them probably.
For sure.
To do it.
I thought he was great in Civil War. I mean, it was definitely a small dose. Tom Holland I thought was great in that whole scene in his apartment with his aunt and Tony Stark. I thought that was great in Civil War. But going into this, I think what I'm looking forward to most is its smaller scale where the fate of the world isn't in his hands.
Yeah, the fate of a boat.
Yeah, the fate of a boat.
According to the trailer.
And maybe part of a
monument.
skyrise in a building or something like that. But it's not like the city's going to explode or something, you know?
It's a simpler film. And that's part of it, I think, too. My hesitation with it, it's a film centered around a high school kid.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, it's just not as exciting normally as somebody that's like a full-grown person. So that's kind of one thing for me. I'm also not convinced yet about Tom Holland. I did like him in Civil War. I thought he was good, but he didn't like blow me out of the water. I really liked Andrew Garfield as Spider-Man. We've talked about that. I didn't like the movies. I felt like the movies are bad, but I really liked him as the character.
You could say that about Tobey Maguire too. I thought he was an all right one. I did like Andrew Garfield a ton though. I am sold on Tom Holland, and that's probably because I've seen a lot of his like behind the scenes videos and stuff like that he posts frequently about like him training as Spider-Man and
it's probably an age thing. Sorry, not to interrupt, but since he's so young, it makes him hard. Not that I should be able to relate to him, but it makes him harder to relate to because he is so young.
Yeah.
So
that's what they're going for. I mean, we've never technically had. I mean, when Tobey Maguire was Spider-Man, he was like 30 playing a high school student, you know?
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's going to give us a little bit more credibility on that side.
That was also because they progress the plot really quickly and they move out of high school and they go right into him being like, you know, an adult wandering around taking photos of stuff.
I will say this movie looks like it's going to have a ton of comedy or attempted comedy.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah.
You can tell that from the trailer.
Yeah.
I mean, who knows if you get in there and they've kind of lessened it. But Marvel generally does good with their humor.
Yeah.
I've never seen a Marvel film where the humor didn't land yet.
It's almost like more of like a coming of age tale as opposed to a superhero film. That's kind of what I feel like it is.
Yeah. A kid it looks like the daddy issue type stuff with, you know, Robert Downey Jr.'s character and him looking at him as like a father figure type thing. I will say this too. I'm not a big fan of Marissa Tomei as Aunt Mary. I don't know if we've talked about this. Aunt May, sorry.
Yeah.
I shouldn't be looking at Aunt May and going like, wow, you're attractive. Like, I'm sorry, but like Aunt May is like the loving grandma that like bakes you cookies and, you know, you feel comfortable at her house and she's like, here's a hard candy, son. Like, you know, she's like the nice lady that, you know, you talk to and she's like older and I shouldn't be like, whoa, Aunt May. Like, you know what I mean? It's like when they tried to take that Wendy's like caricature and like turn her into a real girl. It's just like, it's weird to me because like, you existed in this facet for so long.
Yeah.
As this like old, you know, curly white haired, you know, begotter of wisdom.
Yeah.
And now you're turning her into this like hottie.
Yeah.
It's like,
you know what? I think, and this is clearly what they're doing it for, but to just have Tony Stark just riff on it. Because I think that's clearly, that's the point of it.
That's weird to me.
And like, it's just so funny.
It's weird to me. Like, I don't need Tony Stark to be hitting on Aunt May. That's just very strange.
What if they get married and like Peter Parker becomes like his like step nephew?
Oh, don't even. That's just such a weird, convoluted. They wouldn't do that. They couldn't do that.
Would they?
They wouldn't.
Would they?
They wouldn't do that. That would just so convolute the story. I mean, they do tend to generally stick with the comic book like events pretty heavily.
Yeah,
so
well, that's true.
That would go way off left field in the comic book series.
So, yeah, I mean, like I said,
it's just little things like that are kind of adding up. And it could be an amazing film, but it's like little things like that with the casting choice there, with the age and the relatability of the character, the fact that we've had so much that's just adding up to make this less like wow or interesting or like I'm excited for it. I'm obviously going to go see it.
Yeah.
And it's, like I said, getting very good reviews, but I'm just not super exuberant to get out there and check it out.
I'm sitting at like a 7.5, I think.
On an excitement level?
Yeah.
I'm at closer to like a 6.
Okay.
I think 6.5.
Okay. Well, that's reasonable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll see. We're going to talk about it after we go get a chance to do it. And so we'll probably talk about that on our next review. We'll do like a half spoilery, half non-spoilery review.
Yeah.
So cool. So then we're going to get into just a tiny touch of some film news. We don't have too much to discuss today, but we wanted to talk about the Jumanji trailer.
Yeah.
Yeah. You had a chance to see this, right?
Yes, I did. And
What'd you think?
I surprisingly enjoyed it.
Same here. I was not expecting to. That was weird.
It looks it's not like a movie you're like, this is going to be a quality piece of cinematic, masterpiece awesomeness. It just looks like it's going to be fun to me. It looks like they're playing up all the right quirks and little comedy bits that are in there. I grew up in the 90s. I watched Jumanji as a little kid, and I really, really liked it. And I watched it a ton as a kid, actually.
Yeah.
And really into it. I remember trying to make my own, have my dad help me try and make my own game board. I wanted to make one. I was, I don't know how old I was at the time, but
you wanted to unlock the powers of Jumanji,
right? Something. I just wanted to be creative about it and make my own
that's dangerous,
game board.
Matt. You could have died.
I know, with a rhinoceros.
If you'd been successful. Yeah, little spider things could have come out and gone.
Spidermans everywhere.
That's the scariest part. That whole movie. That was one of those movies that crossed the boundary of being a kids movie to slightly horrific and terror. It did a great job of toeing that line, and even as an adult, you'll still watch scenes and be like, "Oh my goodness, that's really freaky." I mean, he's got a dad figure wandering around trying to kill him. So the alligator scene, but the spiders. What I was getting to, the spiders in that movie was the freakiest thing as a kid. I don't like spiders.
The spiders.
The Spidermans.
So I liked that movie as a kid. I watched it a lot. And so naturally they're like, Jumanji, we're gonna do it again. I kind of rolled my eyes a little bit. I'm like, okay, how can we do this?
Did you see the sequel? The Zarephath or Zara whatever.
Zathura? Was that a sequel to that?
It was a spiritual successor.
I didn't see it.
It was the same sort of idea. It was
Sam
Jumanji.
Rockwell's in that, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's it's the same idea except in space.
Okay.
And it's a little bit less intense.
Okay.
There's a lower intensity. It looked like production level was. The production costs were probably a lot lower too.
Yeah. So with this, I was kind of I don't know. I was kind of a little hesitant at the fact with how do you do this in honor? Because it's supposed to be a sequel to the original. Okay. And how do you honor the memory of Robin Williams without it? At first, I thought they were going to do a straight remake. We since learned it's not true. So they're not trying to replace a character, or do anything like that.
Yeah.
Which is good. And I think they're kind of amping up. I like the twist that they're throwing on it. It's not a board game anymore. It's a video game. Every character has their own little quirks.
Yeah.
It's almost like that, a superhero movie mentality where they're trying to discover, we have powers, what does that mean, and just in a video game, you're like, why, Kevin Hart, he's running, he's like, why am I so slow, or whatever, his character is really slow. We've all been in those video games where one character's slower than others, and I don't know, I thought this was kind of funny, a little fun take on it, I just, it looks fun to me.
The immediate impression that I had from it was this seems really stupid.
Yeah.
Which is rude to say, but I just didn't like the idea. They're getting sucked into a video game and they're their avatars. It just seemed very like a 5-year-old.
Yeah.
What would be fun to do? Oh, what if they all got sucked into a video game and they turn in their avatars? Wouldn't that be cool? Not that's more older than 5.
That's why it's going to make a lot of money, Joel.
I know, but that immediately had me in a bad place. But then I watched the trailer, and when I saw the interactions and the humor of the characters and the way that they bounced off each other, it became a lot more fun.
Right.
And it doesn't feel like they're taking it too seriously. It feels like they're taking it kind of a little bit tongue-in-cheek, and they know that they're self-aware enough with it that it's not trying to be too purposeful and serious. Yeah. So I could potentially enjoy it for reasons like that, but I'm still a little... I will actually probably watch a few more trailers on this to kind of see how it plays out.
Speaking of game avatars.
Oh, look at that.
Hey.
Very good.
Segue.
Yes. The other segment of news, which is that they released a news article that has stated that according to James Cameron and some people that are connected to the production, they are potentially going to be releasing Avatar 2 with a 3D technology that allows you to view the films in 3D without the use of 3D glasses. What do you think
crazy.
about that? Isn't that crazy?
It's crazy.
I don't know how that even works necessarily.
So they'd have to do it differently because if you look at the Nintendo 3DS, they have basically a screen overlay at the top of it that does the work for you.
Right.
So they can't do that in theaters.
Right.
I don't think they can do that where they're just going to throw another screen on top of the screen to make that happen.
They could have two Screen Monkeys come out and just like dun 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 dun, and they could just roll out a sheet that does that.
So I don't know if they're going to use some type of like dual projection system where one's the image, the other one's like distorting the image just enough to make it seem like that, you know?
Yeah. So the way that most modern, I don't know if you're familiar with this, they create 3D effects in most modern cinemas is it's similar to the whole red and blue thing that they used to do in the olden days, but they've improved it where they put certain images visible by one eye and other parts visible by another eye.
Right.
And so the focus is different. And so the way that your eye processes the two different interpolated images as they go into your eye, it creates this 3D effect. That's why when you take off the glasses, it just looks really blurry.
Right.
Whereas in the old days, they did that using red and blue.
Right.
They don't do that anymore. They just do it with like interpolation of the film and the glasses. So I think that technique works really great. And I'm wondering how you could potentially do that if you put, there's no reason for why if they didn't put a sheet of that like interpolated type stuff that they use on the glasses over the screen, it couldn't do that automatically. But I don't know how that would work because the only way it's ever been able to work is that they play off of the way that your left brain and right brain and left eye and right eye bring in information in different ways. That's the only way they've ever been able to make it work. And they've talked about doing it with like lasers and all this other stuff in this new medium. So I'm just like, my mind's like...
It's interesting. I mean, James Cameron's always been at the forefront of new technology.
Absolutely.
And he's the one
an
who...
innovator for sure.
Yeah, he's the one who made the first Avatar with the first time with like legit 3D, like he like patented it. Like that's his thing.
Yeah.
And now he's looks like he's trying to take another step further. If he can do it, then awesome. I'd be excited to see that. That's a future right there.
That is amazing. I would be more inclined to go see a 3D movie that I didn't have to wear those silly glasses.
Right, me too, because I'm not really big on 3D movies. If I can avoid them, I typically do.
Well, I would hope that one of the main reasons that I don't like seeing 3D, the glasses I could honestly care less about for the most part, but it's really that most 3D technology does impact the overall visual style and the way that the film actually looks. Generally, it will take on a darker hue and a darker tone and makes it darker and harder to see at times in 3D.
Right.
And so that's why I generally avoid those because I want to be able to see the film. I want to be able to see it more clearly.
I want to see the film.
Yeah. So that's why I generally avoid the 3D films. But if they can do something with this new technology and it doesn't impact that type of stuff, that'd be amazing.
Yeah, for sure.
So there you go.
Yeah, I'm kind of excited to see what happens.
Me too. So we'll see how that plays out. Matt, any other stuff?
No, that's it. It's kind of the big things I want to talk about.
Cool. Well, then we're going to go ahead and sign off. Again, some reminders here at the end, some ways to get connected. We've got the website, which is realreviewmedia.com, and our newsletter on there. You can also check us out on Facebook, which is facebook.com/realreviewmedia. We've got our Instagram and our Twitter, which are both at realreviewmedia. And you can also connect with us via email. Send us your thoughts, maybe any film news you'd like us to check out, which you can send us an email at realreviewmedia@gmail.com. And that's it. So it's been real.
It's been real.